Marcus, you are one of the agents within Marshall White that has built a brilliant reputation in the marketplace, really created a niche from a profile point of view, and I'd love to have a chat with you as part of the Marshall White way, how you've actually gone about doing that and making that happen.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So I guess to start with, what's your philosophy around your, building your network, building your profile in the marketplace?
I went out with some intent probably 10 years ago to really have an impact on the influencers in my market. So I wanted people to be able to have the ability to refer business to me, and I was perceived as the professional in our marketplace. By default, a lot of that has come about by the way I position my clients' properties. Whenever I've had the opportunity of taking something to market, about upselling advertising, because I'm always about the perception of the property in marketing will relate to the outcome, but also relate to my perception. So
absolutely.
Big ads promote you as well as the property. I always want myself as a personal name, Marshall White as a company name, and my client's property be perceived better than all others on the market. And it's a pretty simple exercise when having that discussion with an owner to say, how would you like your property perceived by the market and presented to the market the same as everybody else or much better than everybody else?
So really you take, and I love the fact you have this conversation with the client, so how do we have an elevated position in the marketplace and really ensure your property stands out?
Correct. And a lot of it stems back from your early days of training about getting your property onto the shopping list of buyers. And I think, look, it's relatively easy when the market's strong that you can go for a smaller campaign and hope that the droves of people will just turn up anyway. But I think as we're seeing and Sydney's experiencing, we're starting to feel that where the market is patchy and starting to tightening up, that it becomes even more important that your marketing strategy for your clients' properties, as well as yourself, is much better than your competitors, internally and externally.
Which is a fantastic sort of mission and vision to have well and truly with the property.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what if the client, say, potentially chose not to upgrade? So look, with the greatest respect, Marcus, we're happy with this. What would your approach be with that?
Look, there are certainly instances where I see it as self-promotion to on occasion, fund an upgrade for some of my clients' properties, not for the entirety of the campaign, for a particular ad, particularly at the beginning.
Maybe a launch kind of splash.
And also to demonstrate to them the impact that we'll have. And a lot of them do. When they see the ad upgraded, they go, no, we want to maintain that ad all the way through. Yes, it may have cost me $1,000 or $1,500. Once again, it's still tax deductible. But to upgrade the perception of my client's ad, but once again, I look at that as part of my own personal marketing investment on an annual basis, because once again it's positioning myself as the leader in the marketplace in my specific target market based on the size of my ads.
And then, of course, you'll have people who are attracted to you say, because I love the way you presented that property to the marketplace,
correct,
can we have that as well? So maybe there are 3 that roll on that you don't need to upgrade because they love the way that you presented that property to the marketplace.
Absolutely. And the amount of what I'd call, and James calls the free kicks that I get from the market by default, the perception is, you always sell all the great homes, you always sell all the beautiful homes. Hasn't always been the case, but I've promoted mediocre homes in a very beautiful way for a long period of time. So I change my perception in the market for those that are with the view that they may sell at some point in time.
It's a really good point. The other thing I really like about that, didn't see it as a cost from a marketing point of view, you saw it as an investment in presenting yourself and positioning you as the agent who sells the most beautiful properties in Melbourne.
Well, I see agents, not only here, but generally nationwide, spend thousands of dollars doing generic mailbox drops that see zero return, and that is better off being directed into someone that is investing with you already, but also helping the success of the campaign, the success of your brand, by actually contributing back to some level of promotion.
Yeah, it's a great point. And in actual fact, some of that junk mail letterbox stuff can be very frustrating and a reason not to choose someone because there's just so much noise coming at them.
You're correct, absolutely.
Well and truly. Okay, good. On the networking side of things, some agents are out there and you see them socially and all those sorts of things.
Yep.
Can you talk a little about your philosophy around that?
I've created an intentional divide between my personal life and my business life, where I think a lot of the agents that have been in this marketplace for decades rely upon their social connections to secure listings. And I think that the times have changed because the level of professionalism in real estate has moved beyond, I have to list with the person I play golf with, I have to list with the person that I went to school with. It's all about the best in the market. So I've created very much a professional reputation rather than a personal obligation to our marketplace. A lot of
so I'm listing with you out of obligation versus I'm listing with you because of your reputation.
Correct.
And the professional experience I'm going to have.
Absolutely. And because of the importance of the asset that we're dealing with, in most instances, the biggest asset of our client's life, but so is their health. But they're not going to go to the doctor that they went to school with. They're going to go to the best doctor or the best surgeon, and that's becoming more prevalent now as well in our marketplace. But there is a changing of average ages, etc., and people are more reliant upon going to those that are being referred to them, who have the track record, the reputation, rather than the one they feel obliged to. So I don't let my social life blur necessarily to an extent, yes. But don't let it completely consume my business life, consume my personal life, because most people don't know my wife, my children, where we live, etc., etc. So there's none of that perception about, oh, look, don't go and use him as a real estate agent because he's done A, B, and C on a personal perspective. Even though I'm an angel outside of work, there's no skeletons in the closet, if I can put it that way.
Yes. Yeah. Great. And the other thing I know that you do is the Prestige Review a couple of times a year. Could you talk a little about the strategy behind that?
Absolutely. So that is it is a bit of a credibility statement about the success that myself, Nicole, and the team have had over a 6-month period. So it's something we personally publish twice a year. It's about a 12-page document that's really well done, and it's got some general reading content as well as some of our successes as a team and also as a company that specifically is delivered to every household in Toorak. There's 5,000 copies that go out.
Fantastic.
That are distributed to every single letterbox, and it's something that you wouldn't necessarily throw away. It's too good. It's almost magazine quality. It talks about a little bit about the state of the market, so an intro, a bit of an editor's note. Some recent sales that have occurred, and successful ones, of course. Then, to give you an example, the 3 people that are interviewed in the current edition is David Hicks, who is an internationally recognised interior designer. We've got Thierry from Thierry B Gallery, so is probably the highest supplier of artwork through Stonington. And also another gentleman by the name of Josh James, who supplies personal private cellars and will customise your cellar and source wines from all around the world. Brilliant. So 3 things that resonate in our market and people would find very interesting to read. So and it's also great brand alignment.
Great brand alignment, and also 3 great people to have in your network.
Absolutely.
Well and truly, promoting them and making that happen. So the impact that has?
Huge. I think it's because not only because our names and faces are on it discreetly, the recognition of our brand, the recognition of our successes, it's a very passive, long-term thing. It's not something I'm looking for an instantaneous return and an immediate seller to come out of that because they've received it. But it's about building, once again, that brand perception of what we do, and we're there when we are needed, not necessarily just there all the time for when our distribution occurs. So that's a long-term play.
Fantastic. And you're right, brands are not built overnight, they're built over a long term, and this on this builds that absolutely, totally, well and truly.
Correct.
What sort of spend is involved in that?
Per edition is about $10,000 per edition. So there's about a $20,000 investment on that, but we are taking, once again, a very long-term view to it. And it's something that we're not necessarily measuring, but say, well, we're getting an X amount of return on it. I think it's one that's going to be very difficult to measure, but it's about people who recognise you, who call you, and it's about building that perception over a long period of time. Now,
do you keep any spares for open homes and those kind of things?
Absolutely. So we order 1,000 more than required for the distribution to use at auctions, open homes over that 6-month period. Every single person who walks out of an open home has got one of them in their hand, accompanying with the brochure that they're walking out of. So it's got a longer shelf life than your standard letterbox drop, and I think it really does have a profound impact to our brand and our market.
And sometimes you look at how much someone's spending on individual letterbox drops. If you put that together, what could you create twice a year, would it have more impact in the marketplace, well and truly?
Absolutely. And we wanted something that had a little bit more general content rather than just real estate brag. Because we see a lot of, and filled with statistics that just bore people to sleep. We want something that was a bit more exciting, a bit more vibrant, but very tailored to our demographic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, very good.
Awesome.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Pleasure.